Right now, there are Chinese fighter jets taking off from runways that didn't exist 5 years ago. These aren't on mainland China, they're on artificial islands that China built from nothing in the middle of the ocean, transforming underwater coral reefs into military bases larger than airports. In just 1 decade, China has essentially stolen 3,200 acres of ocean and turned it into their own territory, complete with missiles pointed at anyone who disagrees. The craziest part? This might be the smartest military strategy of the 21st century, and it's happening in waters that could trigger World War III. China's artificial island construction in the South China Sea is one of the most consequential geopolitical developments of our time. And why the South China Sea? That sea holds an estimated 11 billion barrels of oil and 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, more oil than Nigeria and more gas than Australia. Its seabed also contains massive deposits of rare earth minerals, essential for smartphones, electric cars, and military equipment, potentially worth trillions once extraction becomes viable. But here's what makes this truly strategic. $5.4 trillion worth of goods passes through these waters annually, 40% of global maritime trade. Every day, 64% of China's trade, 60% of Japan's and South Korea's trade transit these waters. Control these shipping lanes, and you control global supply chains. The fishing industry adds another dimension, with over 10 million tons caught annually, providing food security for 3.7 billion people across the region. Climate change and overfishing elsewhere are making these waters even more valuable. So how do you build islands in the middle of the ocean? China uses massive dredging vessels, some as large as football stadiums, that vacuum sand from the ocean floor and pump it onto coral reefs to create new landmasses. Fiery Cross Reef is the most dramatic example. In 2014, it was a small coral outcropping barely visible at high tide. By 2016, China had transformed it into a 677-acre artificial island with a 10,000-foot military runway capable of handling strategic bombers and fighter jets. Subi Reef underwent an even more incredible transformation. Originally covering just 0.08 square kilometers, it's now a 976-acre military installation with runways, hangars, radar facilities, and surface-to-air missile systems. Satellite imagery shows entire military bases appearing in months rather than years. These aren't just islands, they're unsinkable aircraft carriers extending China's military reach hundreds of miles from its mainland coast. China's claims rest on the 9-dash line, a boundary encompassing 90% of the South China Sea that first appeared on Chinese maps in the 1940s. However, international law presents problems. Artificial islands don't generate territorial waters under the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea. The Philippines challenged China at The Hague, resulting in a 2016 ruling that comprehensively rejected China's claims. China's response: complete rejection of the ruling and acceleration of island construction. Beijing argues its claims predate modern international law. Before we explore the military implications, do you think China's artificial islands violate international law, or are they defending legitimate historical claims? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe if you're finding this fascinating. China's artificial islands represent a fundamental shift in regional military balance. Intelligence analysis reveals sophisticated installations across multiple islands. Fiery Cross features radar installations, communications equipment, and missile launches. The runway accommodates H-6K strategic bombers capable of carrying nuclear weapons. These installations create overlapping defensive zones that could make it extremely difficult for rival navies to operate during any conflict. The islands serve as early warning systems, forward operating bases, and potential launching points for attacks. Most concerning, these islands create anti-access, area denial capabilities. By positioning advanced missiles and aircraft here, China could potentially prevent enemy forces from entering the South China Sea entirely. The environmental cost has been catastrophic. Scientists estimate China's dredging destroyed over 40,000 acres of coral reefs, larger than Washington, D.C. These reefs took thousands of years to develop and serve as crucial fish nurseries. Marine biologists report complete ecosystem collapse in some areas, with fish populations declining 70% near construction sites. The long-term impact could affect food security for hundreds of millions who depend on these fisheries. The U.S. has responded with freedom of navigation operations, regular naval patrols that deliberately transit areas China claims. These operations have become increasingly tense, with Chinese and American military assets coming within meters of collision. Regional nations have responded differently. Vietnam conducts its own smaller land reclamation activities, while the Philippines has oscillated between confrontation and accommodation. Japan and Australia support American operations despite not being direct claimants. China's success is inspiring copycat activities throughout the region and accelerating regional militarization. Nations are upgrading naval capabilities and strengthening defense partnerships, creating risks of accidental conflict as multiple militaries operate in confined waters. The precedent raises troubling questions. If artificial island construction can establish territorial claims, what prevents other nations from attempting similar projects in disputed waters worldwide? China's artificial island construction represents one of the most significant geopolitical developments of the 21st century. By literally reshaping geography, China has created facts on the water that complicate any future resolution of territorial disputes. This dispute tests whether international law can constrain great power ambitions and whether economic interdependence can prevent military conflict. The trillion-dollar question remains: will China's strategy succeed in establishing control over the South China Sea, or will international pressure force a different outcome? What's your take? Was this a strategic masterstroke or dangerous escalation? How do you see this evolving? Share your thoughts below, and if you found this compelling, hit like and subscribe for more analysis of the forces reshaping our world. Thanks for watching.